Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who are well. Peace and blessings, salutations to the whole collective Israel. All right, this lesson is going to be on how Jake, got discontinued from their heritage, and also decided to join on to the heathens. All right, which we do time and time again, as a nation, and we're still doing that to this day. All right, following these false ideologies, these religions, all right, all these false gods, all that. All right, so I'm gonna start off in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. All right, because an ideology that a lot of you so-called Negroes, which make up the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, like to cling on to, is that you're African. All right, which that's not true. Okay, and I'm gonna prove that. But while I'm turning to these pages to get it, you need to look at the facts, man. Those Africans hate you, all right? And you go over to Africa. I've seen videos of Africans saying and admitting that they sold Negroes into slavery, that Negroes aren't their people, and that they don't belong in that land, and they don't want them coming back to Africa, all right? They're taught over there that you're the Israelites. So what the hell are you doing, man? All right. It seems like everybody knows that we're the Israelites except us. All right, because that was a curse, or that was a thing that would happen to us for going off. We would discontinue from our heritage, which is probably what I'm going to name the lesson. All right. But if you remember, Noah had 3 sons. He had Shem, Japheth, and Ham. All right. And what nations are what, I'm not necessarily going to go into this lesson, but just to tell you straight up, I've made videos on who Esau is, which is from Shem, which is a so-called white man. So-called white man is not Japheth. All right. Since they're starting to, since the skirt is getting lifted up and they're starting to realize, all these people are waking up that we're not the Israelites, now all of a sudden they're Japheth. No, you're Esau. All right. And that's pretty clear if the Lord's giving you understanding. Okay. But, Japheth was the original Europeans that got pushed out by Esau. All right, the original Europeans, which you can see from artifacts. All right, even science, they showed a model of what they look like. The original Europeans, which Esau's pseudoscience and all that goes off. But the point is, the original Europeans were Japhetic, which actually had melanin. All right, which they were pushed out of Europe, and all nations are really all over, especially Israel, but Japhetic, it would be like the Pacific Islanders and such, all right? Things of that nature. So it says Ham, all right, which is known for the dark races, all right? Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. So it says that right after, man. Not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. All right. So if Negroes are not Hamitic, then who are they? All right. I just told you who Japheth is. So who are the so-called Negroes, man? Who are the so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans? Who are they? They're Israelites. They are the Israelites, the biblical Israelites. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. They come from Jacob, all right? Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. People say, all tribes are Negroes. You're retarded, all right? All tribes are not Negroes. Because first of all, it depends how you're saying that. What do you mean all tribes are Negroes? Are you saying every Israelite's going to look like a Negro right now? Because if that's what you're saying, you're a retard. Like, there's no way to put it. All right, there's no sugarcoating that. You're just a fucking retard if that's what you think. All right, because we've mixed with other nations over time, and the Israelites even look like so-called white people today, so-called Chinese people, so-called East Indians. We look like all sorts of different nations from mixing with them. Why? Because you are what your father is. So it doesn't matter what you look like or what your mother is. It matters what your father's seed goes back to. All right. point blank, period. But the Northern Kingdom did look similar to Negroes back in the ancient world. I'm sure they did, and it seems like it, you know. But over time, with getting mixed, it changed. Just like you have Judites and Benjamites that look like so-called white people now, you have a new thing that Esau put out called Latinos and Native Americans. Native just means you were there first, right? So Native Americans are just people that inhabited the land of America before anybody else. And Latino and Hispanic go back to white. So what are you Latinos really, man? Most of you are Israelites, all right? I just, it's just you've been mixing among other nations. I'm a Judite, man. I'm from the tribe of Judah, but I look more on the so-called white side. But my father's seed, going up to my dad, my grandpa, my great grandpa, that's a Judite, a so-called black man. I'm an Israelite, a Judite. So how is it any different for the Northern Kingdom? So you guys that believe every Israelite's a so-called Negro, you just retarded, all right? And you're carnal, and the Lord ain't dealing with you first and foremost, okay? But it says Ham, the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, and then it lists Africans. So you're not an African. So who are you? You so-called Negroes are from the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and you're the Israelites. How do we know that? Through prophecy, all right? But why don't you know who you are today? Well, that's what I'm going to go into. All right, I'm going to go into a couple scriptures. I'm not going to make this too long, but I'm going to turn to Jeremiah. I think it's chapter 17. And I prove, the Akaim and I have already made several videos, so you can go check those out, proving that you're the Israelites. All right, it's the age of information. The knowledge is there, but you refuse to acknowledge it. All right, Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. So we forgot who we were, man. We discontinued from our heritage. And the nations teamed up with each other. And they wanted to make the name of Israel be in no more remembrance. All right, so they wanted to wipe that off the face of the earth, and they did. They deceived you, because they're calling themselves Israelites when they're the Edomites. The people in Israel are not the real Jews, man. That's pretty clear. All right, because first of all the tribes are going to get put into the land of Israel, all right, by the hands of Yahweh. And then there will be peace on earth. There isn't peace on earth, man. They don't fit the prophecy at all. They don't fit anything, man, except the Edomites. All right. So we got discontinued from our heritage, so we don't know who we are. But it says that we'll remember ourselves in the lands of our captivity, basically. All right. I think roughly paraphrasing. I can't paraphrase in the Bible app because I have to stay on this screen to upload videos. But the scripture says that we'll remember ourselves in the land of our captivity, something along the lines of that. All right, which is what we're beginning to do. All right, you see people all over the world waking up. All right, but what's something that we did back then that we're doing today? A lot of you Jakes, you celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day. That's all pagan holidays. That's all complete nonsense. But why are you into those? Why aren't you keeping the Passover or the Day of Atonement? Because you joined yourselves onto the heathen, and you were raised like a heathen. You believed that you were heathen. Oh, I'm an American. No, you're not. You're an Israelite. All right. Your nationality is not determined by where you're born. All right, or your race is a social construct. There's 18 nations in the Bible, and you're from one of them. All right, you're not. Oh, I'm 50% Israelite. No, you're either an Israelite or you aren't. All right, there's 18 nations, one of them being the nation of Israel. All right, and then 17 heathen nations. You are what your father is. So either you're an Israelite or you're not. There's no such thing as mixed. There's no such thing as percentages when it comes to that. It goes by your father. If your father is an Israelite, you're an Israelite. If your mother's an Israelite but your father's a heathen, you're a heathen. All right. So let me get 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. I'm going to start at verse 11. Get right to the point. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. All right? So that's what you Jakes still do today, man. You're following your enemy's customs. That's not what you're supposed to do. It says, envy not the oppressor. Don't do any of his ways. All right? You're not supposed. We have our own heritage. We're the greatest people on the earth, man, and you want to be somebody else. That's a problem, man. How do I know we're the greatest people on the earth? I can give you 2 precepts, all right? There's many more, but I can give you 2 precepts that immediately show that right in the literally the third book of the Bible. Or no, fourth. Salakia. Okay, 5th. Okay, wait, where am I going? Hold on, Salakia. I want Deuteronomy. That's the 5th book, I think. If I don't recall. That was Salakia. Yeah, the 5th book. I forgot where I was going for a second. I mean, really, you can go to any of the books, but yeah, the 5th book of the Bible. So in the Torah, the last book of the Torah, man. Genesis chapters are. So like, I don't even know where my mind is. I mean, I'm focusing on this, but I don't know. Slovakia. I have no idea. Deuteronomy, the 5th book of the Bible, the last book of the Torah, all right? Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1. Or no, I'm going to go to, I'm going to get right to the point, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. All right? That's a clean cut. So we're the greatest people on the earth. Deuteronomy chapter 14. Salakia for, any mispronunciations or any slip-ups I have. We all make mistakes, man. We trip on our own words and stuff. Deuteronomy is the 5th book. All right? Chapter 14, verse 2, For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all nations that are upon the earth. So out of all we're the nation of Israel. There's 17 other nations, and we're put above all of them. We're the best people on the earth, and you want to be everybody else, man. You want to be an American. You want to be European. You want to be African. You want to be this, that, but you don't want to be the greatest people on the planet. You don't want to be a king or a princess, man. You don't want to follow the Creator and His Son, man. Why is that? It just doesn't make any sense. All right, but with that said, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and others of great millstone who are well. Peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. All right, keep pushing. Adawan Ratazah, this was edifying to the elect. Adawan Ratazah, we are the elect. Shalom.